All right, great. I'm going to have Vitória, Bina do the first introduction, and then I'll give a little segue into this panel.
Perfect. Thank you, Stephanie. So first of all, I really want to thank Brand Innovators for being here and all the events that we are joining. It's a very, very good to meet people from our markets and partners. So I'm Vitória Bina. I'm head of connections from Anheuser-Busch. I'm Brazilian/Italian. I live in São Paulo, but I work for a New York office for the GHQ. And my role is to help brands towards digital transformation, so everything around data, media, creativity, content, and etc. I'm cross-brand. I work for the non-alc beverages that are going to talk about it. So I work like as a cross-consultant, and I identify brands that can run like different pilots, can talk with different partners, we can benchmark globally a campaign or initiative, and etc. So that's my role.
Great. And Vitória has her hands in so many different things. So she is charged with digital innovation, data storytelling, media creativity, and also finding good partners and startups that will help build the Anheuser-Busch ecosystem. My name is Stephanie Gaines, so I lead up partnerships and marketing for TextNow. We are the largest free ad-supported mobile network. We have 10 million monthly users, and we are highly Gen Z and multicultural in our audience. We've had some great growth this year. It's 65 million to over 100 million. So one thing about this panel is that it's going to be an acronym-free panel. You're not going to hear the word ecosystem or consumer journey. We're going to talk about tactics here, and we really hope to give you tactics. And a big shout out to Brand Innovators and really all of you for an incredible couple of days, not of networking, but of like very good conversations. So one of the things that Anheuser-Busch is really focused on, and Vitória and I actually met, we had dinner a couple nights ago, they're focused on really providing consumers with direction on and mission-based marketing. And as you probably know, Gen Z, more than any other consumer generation, wants to have and wants connections with brands that support their own missions, whether it's around sustainability, mental health, LGBTQI, whatever it may be. And Anheuser-Busch is doing some amazing things with that and using sports to help promote their brands. So do you want to talk a little bit about that and what you've done?
Perfect. Yeah, that's one thing that we realized, that mainly during the pandemic, people and consumers are searching for real like brands with real purpose that connect to their lives and really do something for society. So one thing we have, our main markets are Latin America and then China, India, US, Europe. But I'm going to share some cases from Latin America. So we have a brand in Colombia called Pony Malta. It's a malt beverage. And what I did, they realized that FIFA, the soccer game on video game, just have men's players. So if a woman wants to play, always have to choose like a man character. So what I did, they talked to FIFA and they created a whole women team. So now women can play using women as a soccer player. Also, we did another initiative in Brazil with Guaraná. There is a soft drink, a huge soft drink in Brazil. It's like 99% penetration in Brazil. It's huge. They sponsored the women's soccer selection like for years. And they did a huge campaign last year that won like Cannes Awards and all Effie's and etc. They offer space in the can for other brands to support women in sports. So the brands that they should pay to be in the Guaraná can, and Guaraná give the money, the 100% of the money to the soccer players. And they also realized that the soccer players they have, the women soccer players, to win the same amount of money that the men soccer players in the 80s. So they did an initiative with the team. When they join the fields, they wear like accessories from the 80s, like headphones, like radios, polainas, and etc., just to make people realize that they are having the same salary as men in the 80s in the end. So that was 2 examples that I did. It was very nice.
That's really amazing work. And I didn't know myself, I'd love to see a show of hands, how many people did not know that Anheuser-Busch has so many non-alcoholic brands. I was definitely one. Cool. I was amazed just to see the depth of it all. So one of the things that Anheuser-Busch is also spending a lot of time around in Vitória is data and data storytelling, and really collecting the global data that, and consumer insights to inform their products. So do you want to talk a little bit about that?
Perfect. Just for you to know, in the non-alc business, it's a business of $3 billion. It's a huge business. Inside, Anheuser-Busch represents 10% of the business, but it's a huge business, and some people don't know. But talking about data, we, in the past few years, 3-4 years, all the brands, they did a huge effort collecting data, collecting first-party data, around digital products, promotions, loyalty programs, and etc. And then we realized that it had a huge amount of data, but it didn't know what to do with the data and how to generate insights for us, and etc. So we have two very nice initiatives that I'm going to share. One is called Own the Insights, that we develop an internal tool. It's a platform that create researches for consumers. So we identify, using our first-party audiences, the audience we want to talk with. We create surveys, and then we send them through email. Their answers come back to our database. So we enrich our database, and we realize that we want to get closer to our consumer in the end, and that's our way to ask them questions. So we test products, we test packagings, we test campaigns, we test positionings, we test occasions. For example, we test when Michelob Ultra launched in Brazil, we test the best occasion to launch the beverage there. We test Stella Artois non-gluten also. Guaraná, this CSD brand in Brazil. We did a huge campaign on new flavors. So we asked Brazilians which flavor they prefer combined with Guaraná. That is the name of a fruit from Amazonia. And we have 6 different flavors from each region of Brazil, and the brand decided to launch the 6 new flavors. So it was a really nice and successful campaign. And we use all the data that I have internally with the insights that I have internally. So that's how we're using this data now. And also, one thing that we realized also during the pandemic, the shift for D2C. So we launched some services that we can deliver, like beverage, like cold beer in 10 minutes in some people's house. So we launched this as a service for us also to be in contact directly with consumer. And also understand more what they want, and etc. It gives us insights for new products, new campaigns, and so that's the 2 initiatives that we're running.
Cool. So, one of the things that I was actually talking with my team about, and we talked a little bit about it, is you go to these panels, and you go to these conferences, and it seems like everyone's career is just up and to the right? And you look on their LinkedIn profile while you're sitting there, and how did they get there? So I want to just take a beat and say, right now, during this time, what do you find one of the greatest challenges as an executive? During COVID, during pandemic?
Being a mother. I have two daughters, 1 and 3 years. So I work from home. And so for me, it's the most challenging thing now. It's being a mother, but I know you're not the answer you're expecting. I think on the business side, I think is really... because in my position, I have to really learn every day. So this learning path, I have to be learning every day and understanding new trends and understanding for where people are going, why they are going, and their new habits and new channels and new. So it's for me, it's a very complex system. So there's so many channels and so many audiences and so many ways to talk with consumers. So for me is how from where I should bring the learn for my daily basis. So that's my main challenge now.
Cool. So Anheuser-Busch is doing a lot of incredible partnerships with other brands and other brands that you may not expect them to be working with at all. Some may even be considered competitors. Do you want to talk a little bit about that and how you've done partnerships?
Yes, we have huge partners as Coke, PepsiCo, and Red Bull. So depending on the market, we distribute Coke or PepsiCo and or Red Bull. So, for example, Brazil, we have PepsiCo and Red Bull, Argentina, PepsiCo, Red Bull. So, Honduras and El Salvador, we have Coke. So, depending on the market, we have different partners. And we have very good and strong relationship with them. With PepsiCo, for example, we build together JBPs on insights, on data. So, we work very close to the partners.
Great. I want to take a beat here to see if there are any questions for Vitória about Anheuser-Busch or data storytelling. Great.
Hi, you mentioned a lot about the first-party data strategy in different countries around the world. Do you see different levels of proficiency in the collection and processing and usage of that data for marketing versus the usage of that data then for your advertising in those countries? Is there discrepancies? Are there certain countries that things work better for, things work worse?
I think what makes in the end a country works better, there's two things. The GDPR of each country is different, like the compliance and etc. is different. And I would say the brand marketers, if they are if they understand well digital, it's easier versus the markets that are has a very offline mindset. So it makes a lot of difference then.
I have a question. How do you think about your global marketing strategies as opposed to marketing in America?
Can you repeat, please?
How do you think about because you're the head of global, so how do you think about your global marketing strategies in comparison to how you think about marketing in America?
In America, US or?
US,
yeah. Our brands in US, we have, it's not our stronger market. In US, we have Highball, Super Coffee, Ghost. So it's not I would say that 90% of my time is Latin America in the end. And then China and India. US, as we have already stronger brands that I normally, my time is going to the brands that are still not very digitalized and etc. So I would say US is a more mature country for us. But it's very nice to work with the brands I have here. They're very cool brands, so it's nice to do good stuff to them.
Do you find that there are differences in marketing? What are the differences in marketing to U.S. consumers versus, say, Brazil? How do you find the consumers interact differently?
Yeah, I have a lot of bias in this answer because I'm Brazilian, so I understand much more Brazilians. But I think US has very aggressive communication. You can be very straight to the point. It's different than Brazil. Brazil, it's more like you have to go more on the sides, and then when I talk, it's different. So I would say this.
Cool. Yes.
Talk about your direct-to-consumer initiative. You talked about your direct-to-consumer initiative. How does that employ your distributors, and how does that affect your grocery store vendors and office vendors as well?
So we have two types of direct consumer initiatives. We have one for final consumers, so for D2C, and B2B too. So we are doing huge partnerships with our partners in the end to join the B2B tool that we have, and it's an app. And all of our sales efforts is going and have targets on the B2B tool in the end. So and the partners are joining. They also see advantage of using, because if you use it more and more, you can win points and win discounts and etc. So all the companies really pushing and offering discounts and etc. for the partners to really join the B2B. For us, it's important. So they don't see as a bad thing. They see as a good thing in the end.
Cool. Any other questions? Oh, great.
Hello.
So the question is, there's so much good work that's going on in Latin America, right? But yet the awareness elsewhere isn't that great. Like, are you guys doing anything specific specific to amplify those stories of best practices coming from that region, share what they share. Not necessarily just for your brand, but overall as a company.
Yes, so as a company, we have some initiatives that we do. We have a newsroom that we call. It's a bi-monthly meeting that we invited all the marketing and connections community to share benchmarks. So, for example, from Brazil to US and etc., from India, etc. So, and we always identify a team. So, for last year was everything about NFT. So we invited the US team to share some NFTs initiatives, and then they share their knowledge, not just the things that worked, but also what didn't work, because it's good for the brands to know that, understand what's going on. And one thing that I forgot to mention, but as we are now, we has less, like we don't have age gate, we don't have religious gates. That is something very, very important for beer. So we can test everything first in non-alc. So we use non-alc as a laboratory in the end. So we use non-alc a lot to test, pilot, and then scale to beer.
Great.
Hi, Wes from Brand Strategies. When I went to Brazil, I loved Guaraná.
Great.
But I don't see it in the U.S. So my question is, how do you decide which products to actually test in your markets? And what are kind of some of the signals?
We have Guaraná here, actually. You can buy it on Amazon. But it's a very small market. But I think Guaraná is very specific because it's it's very Brazilian. It's very Brazilian. It was born in Brazil. It's like a 100-year brand. They just did a 100-year, and it's very for the Brazilian taste. We sell Guaraná here for Brazilians. Like we don't sell for other. I think. We do, I'm not in the product innovation area, but we do a lot of tests, tasting, with consumers and etc. And then we identify the trends and the possible new markets for us. But Guaraná is a brand that is scaling. So we have a plan for Guaraná. If you want to drink it.
I have a question for you. So at TextNow, we've done a lot of research around Gen Z, and any of you are welcome to get that research if you'd like it. So interesting that that demo wants to hear so much from their peers and not from celebrity influencers. Have you leveraged that, and have you leveraged sort of peer-to-peer influencers in your marketing?
I'm not sure I understood your question.
How do you use influencer marketing?
Okay.
Yeah.
So we have one thing that we are in a path now is to leverage the knowledge that influencer market is not just for reach, because we used to just work for reach within our brand. So just look how many followers that person has and etc. But sometimes a huge influencer doesn't mean it influences our consumers. So we're now searching for new ways to approach influencer, to measure influencer, and working influencer through the whole funnel. So we have from huge celebrities partners such as Anitta in Brazil. We did a very different model with her. She owns part of Beats. That is a beverage that I have in Brazil. So she is co-owner and she wants royalties. Every time I sell one Beat, she wants royalties. So she is very engaged with the brand because she wants to make money, and she's very fast. So Anita gives us everyday ideas. She invents campaigns. She invents initiatives. So that's a very type of agreement that we did with influencers that is working also for other brands. So we have a natural shot also in Brazil that we did a huge partnership also with an actress. One second.
I'm guessing that won't circulate on Twitter as much as the drone campaign did last night by Giant Spoon. But
so she also owns part of the product. So it's one way of us doing partnerships with influencers. We also have a huge community of creators. So really creators that are joining the brand teams. So gaming, for example, that is like a passion point for us that not everybody know very well inside the company. So we invited gamers to join our brand teams and co-create with us campaigns. So they join the daily routine. They have their own lives, but they also help us on a daily basis. So they join the daily routines. They help us with ideas, creating campaigns, and etc. So depending on the brand, we have depending on the size of the brand, we have more than 100 influencers and / creators working for that brand. So we have it's a very strong pillar for us.
Great. Anything else? Oh, great.
Quick question. From your previous conversation before with Brand Innovators, you said, I'd like to do crazy things. As you're trying to connect to your consumer base, what's your crazy thing that you're trying right now?
Let me think. It's a hard question. I think on crazy things. Like I love crazy. I mean more on the creative side, like very challenging and non-obvious ideas. So, for example, that one with Guaraná that I mentioned with the women's soccer team, I think can be an example. Colombia will also have a huge bullying campaign, anti-bullying campaign. That the team was also very brave to do it and to raise that flag. So I would say more on the creative side. And I also love tech crazy things.
Part of your mandate is finding startups. I think you're going to Silicon Valley soon. You mentioned to do some scouting. Yeah.
So I'll be in California next week, searching for partners on data in overall, like that can help us with this own insights platform that I have, on sugar and plastic reduction, so new technologies that can help us developing better beverages, and on tech trends like gaming, NFT, metaverse. So we're searching also for these partners. We'll be the whole week. Next week in California. So if you have a suggestion, please reach me.
Great. Anything else? Thank you all so much. Oh, Kat in the front row.
One more question. We've kind of heard throughout this series that the difficulty of measurement and attribution. How are you guys approaching that at your company?
We have like measurement for us. It's a key, because as we have like so many type of brands, different sizes. If you don't have a very clear measurement, it'll be hard for us to talk internally and to like understand what other brand is doing. So we have global like key metrics that we scale to the markets, and these metrics change like according to the like if consumers are changing and etc. So we have, for example, one huge metric for us is earned impressions. That means that our brands really wanted to be in the culture, to be in the context. So every time people are talking about our brands without media, it means that we are creating something relevant then. So tagging friends and etc. So it's a huge metric. It's now changing. It's a little bit changing because it's very hard to measure. We have some new platforms that don't have API or don't have this type of measure, so it's very hard. But we have in the end global rules that we scale to the markets. Answering your question. Yeah.
Any other questions? Have a great rest of the day.
Thank you.